Hello there. So one of the reasons why looking at and knowing our alignment cues is really important is because it helps us to understand what's actually being moved and maybe what's not being moved enough. And so a big example of this is if I'm going to do a downward dog, like in a yoga class. And we'll just take a look at what downward dog is. So I'm going to start off in a plank. And I'm simply just going to hinge at the hip, push my butt up in the air. And I'm going to go to my extreme where I'm going to really try to make it look pretty. Some classes, they even try to get your head to the floor, heels to the ground, etc. Okay. Now the thing is I'm in that version of the pose, I might actually be skipping a lot of different motions of my body that are kind of staying sedentary, if you will. And so I'm going to start to realign that pose, just do a real quick whirlwind of alignment cues. I'll talk you through it, and we'll see how the shape changes. And so you can see how my actual range of motion, if I include everything, is a lot different than what you just saw. So let's start in hands and knees. You can do this along with me if you like. And I'm going to start with neutral elbow pits. So getting the pits of the elbows to point straight towards my fingers. And I'm going to lock that in place. I'm going to try to keep my whole hand on the floor. Now, I'm going to let my lower back relax. So I want to find a neutral pelvis. So my tailbone in this case is actually going to point up a little bit. My ribs I'm going to bring up into my belly. I'm going to keep my shoulder blades wide and down the back. I'm going to ramp my head a little bit. So now I'm trying to get as neutral of a spine as I can and lengthening it out. Now I'm going to step the feet back. I want to see if I can keep all those points. Now, in order to do that, I may have to bend my knees a little bit. My hamstrings might not have the length. And I'm going to start to shift back and up, keeping my tailbone up, my ribs in the belly, shoulder blades wide, shoulders down the back. And I'm going to ramp my head a little bit. I'm only going to go so far as I can keep those elbow pits forward and all those other things in place. So it probably looks a little bit different. I have a little more bend in the knee. It might look like I have more curvature in my spine. But this is where I'm going to get a lot more motion through the shoulder, a lot more traction through the upper spine, and eventually even more stretch of the hamstrings because I'm keeping my sit bones away from my knees. And so you can see that the range of motion isn't quite as deep, but I'm actually getting more movement through the whole body. And that's one reason why looking at the alignment cues is so important, because it actually gets your entire body to be healthier, rather than leaving some parts active and maybe overused, while other parts are being sedentary and underused. So keep coming along, keep playing, and I'll see you next time.